Hi, hey, Russ here. Welcome back to my shop. Today I want to talk about plywood joinery, and in particular about a butt joint on plywood, where you got one board here, and you join them together. If you put glue on this, put it together, you can do that, but don't sneeze on it. If you do, it'll come apart. So I've done it, believe me, I know. So what I did next was I took and put a screw in here. So I have my glue here, and I have my screw in here going up into this wood into the laminations of this one. But that causes a problem that I very sorely learned about. And what happened was I made a chair using this technique, and I sat down in it, all 130 pounds of me at the time, and it held up great, no problem. Then one day my uncle came over, Uncle Two Butts, I'm sure you know who he is. And he came over and he sat in that chair, and it was like watching an avalanche in slow motion. Just kind of slowly that chair went, boom, and down he went. It was pretty embarrassing. And needless to say, this joint failed. And why did it fail? For this. This is what happens when you put a screw into laminations. And when you go this way, that's exactly what you're doing. It's going to push your wood apart. That screw is actually pushing those laminates apart. Now, you want to stop that from doing that? There's an easy way of doing it. If you put a small dado in your wood and then put this up into that dado, then when you put the screw in, these shoulders will hold that board from doing this so readily, and that makes it much stronger. So if you want to do that, this is the best way to be able to put the screw in from that way. Trouble is, that's no longer a butt joint. Now you got more work that you got to do your joinery. You just want to do something simple, put it together, put a couple of screws in it, and you're done. Well, that's where some people hate them, but this is where the pocket hole screw actually shines, is on plywood. If I do this same joint, and instead of doing this, I do it this way, put a pocket hole in, this pocket hole screw here holding this together is a lot, probably 5 times stronger than this screw holding it in this joint together here. And the way I can prove that is right here. I put this one together with 2 screws using this type of joint. The screws come in from the back right directly into the laminate of this handle that I made. On this handle I used 2 pocket screws, one here and here, and when you grab a handle and you go to pull it, like on a drawer, it doesn't pull straight out anyway. You're actually making this thing twist one side or the other because you're either lifting up on it or pushing down on it as you're pulling out. So what you end up with is a weaker. You can see this one just moves very easily. This one is a lot stronger. So this type of joint is much stronger than that joint by far. And you still don't have to do a dado to get this joint. But you want to make this joint even stronger. You can increase this joint very easily 2, 3, 4 times stronger. How do you do that? No, you don't put more screws in here. You put a screw in on the other side. Now, I have 2 screws in this. What does that do? That now gives me a toenailing in. Now, when this thing tries to pull out, it's going to pull both those screws out at an angle rather than pulling it straight out like it does with this one. And that makes this thing a lot stronger because now it can't twist either way to follow either single screw. So this is a much stronger joint using 2 pocket hole screws instead of 2 regular screws to hold it. So pocket holes actually are much stronger on plywood. I know. We know somebody out there, Matthias, he did a study on pocket hole screws versus his tenons. And he proved that his tenons were stronger than those pocket hole screws. But in my opinion, he actually kind of cheated. Because he glued his tenon on both sides, but he only put pocket holes in on one side of that pocket hole joint. If he'd have toenailed that in on both sides, like when he did that tenon and glued it on both sides, he would have had I think he would have had a much different result. But the only way we'll know that for sure is if he decides to get his bathroom scale out and do another scientific test. I love him. I think he does some great work, but I suspect that he may find himself recanting on how strong pocket holes can be in comparison to a regular tenon joint by doing it that way. I want to leave you with one quick thought about pocket hole joinery, especially on plywood. And that is, this is an example of something that I did right here. This is my overhead rail system that my TV used to ride up and down on. Now I use it for my tool board, and it comes back and forth on the same rail system. But when I made this bottom rail here, I put pocket holes in it on this butt joint here to put this piece and this piece together to make this one stronger. I pocket holed here, but I also pocket holed wherever these two are. Right here on the opposite side, there is one. They're actually staggered in between, back and forth as you go down. I actually did that with a toenail joint. And I have to tell you, that joint is as strong as any joint out there, including if you try to glue a dado there instead to hold that joint, or just put it together with just screws from the top screwed down. It wouldn't have been near as strong as this. And I actually believe that that pocket hole joinery there is stronger than if you put some mini tenons down through there instead and glued it up. I think the pocket holes are stronger. Anyway, whether it's stronger or not, there's no doubt that what I did there was a lot quicker and easier than any other way of screwing it together, but yet still gives you more than adequate strength to hold that together and do the job that I've designed it to do. It'll carry as much weight as I throw up there, I guarantee it. I used the same method to attach it to the ceiling with pocket holes going in from both directions to hold that up there. And I've not seen any signs of that thing wanting to come apart at all. So anyway, it's a food for thought. I want to thank you for stopping by. Me and the OTB Thinker here. You know, if you want to be one, this is the kind of thing you kind of think about. So if you have any questions, please leave them below. If you have any comments, I love it. I always like to enjoy reading your comments. And especially, I want to thank you for coming in this time. Please come back again. Okay? We'll see you soon. Bye.